Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. So it's very interesting to see that Germany, or Berlin more specifically, has decided to blacklist Douglas Murray's latest book on democracies and death cults. And pretty much that book is talking about Israel. So it's very interesting to see how Germany, in its history, not a very good look, by the way, for Germany or Berlin to blacklist Douglas Murray and his books, considering that he's pro-Israel, and Germany in its history has been very anti-Israel. So I thought Germany, or Berlin more specifically, would be a little bit different, but alas, they're not. This is from The Spectator. Douglas Murray has been blacklisted in Berlin. As a British writer living in Berlin, I recently attempted something that now passes for quietly provocative. I tried to buy a book, not just any book, but on democracies and death cults, the latest from Douglas Murray. On democracies and death cults has been born of the last 18 months in Israel, beginning with the massacre by Hamas of Israeli citizens on October 7th. Douglas has sat with the families of those held hostage in Gaza, mapped the long historical path that led us here, and examined through first-hand testimony and serious scholarship how the civilized world is losing its grip on moral clarity. I love Douglas Murray's books. I loved his book, War on the West, The Madness of Crowds and the Strange Death of Europe. I love all of his writings. He's brilliant. He's very good at what he does. And I can't wait to get my hands on this book. But it may be a very tricky thing to do here in Australia because, alas, most Australians here, like bookshops and everything like that, I haven't been able to find it, believe you me. So they've hit it quite well, which shows me the level of disdain, okay? Anyway, in most Western countries, Douglas's book has been reviewed, debated, and discussed. Here in Germany's capital, though, it has not been challenged or rebutted. Instead, it has largely been sidelined. To buy the book, I visited Dustman, the self-appointed cultural department store on Fred, I can't say that either. Sorry, guys. Where you can browse books and media in many languages. Its English bookshop section, unironically marked by a fluttering tartan banner, is the largest in the city. Yet on democracies and death cults was curiously absent from its shelves. I asked the woman at the counter where I might find it. Her eyes lit up, not in recognition, but in triumph. Oh, we don't stock Douglas Murray, she beamed. Why? I asked. He's a right-wing author, came the reply, as if that explained everything. So this is a leftist bookshop then? I asked. No, she insisted. It's not a leftist bookshop. How dare you say such a thing? We just don't sell books for things we don't agree with. Therefore, you are left-leaning, if I may say so. I remarked gently that it seemed a strange policy for a shop in a democracy excluding dissent rather than engaging with it. She gave the impression I'd rather her to stock Mein Kampf. Well, you may as well, considering you won't even have any of Douglas Murray's books there. This is not a fringe anarchist Zion stand. It's Berlin's 7,000 square meter Grand Central bookstore, widely regarded as a Berlin cultural institution. And yet here we are in a city once famed for burning books. We've arrived at a more refined approach. You don't burn books anymore. You just refuse to stock them or sell them. To ensure this wasn't simply a dustman quirk, I visited 3 other reputable establishments in the city, each with a substantial English language section. First, Relay at Hauptbahnhof Central Station. Sorry, my German audience friends. I am actually German myself, and I don't even know how to pronounce that. It's like shame on me. Berlin's equivalent of W.H. Smith. No sign of Murray's book there, not even listed. Next, Hugendenbul by Kudman. Kudam. Can't even say it, sorry. A 2-story flagship with a wide English collection. Once again, no trace of it on the shelves. When asked, staff confirmed it wasn't part of their standard selection, though they kindly offered to special order it. a quiet concession that some books are available, just not openly. Dear, oh dear. Finally, I stopped at Cardiwi, Berlin's equivalent to Harrods, where a helpful bookseller showed me the inventory screen on her iPad. The replenished value for the title was 0. The only similar exception was Jordan Peterson's We Who Wrestle with God. Perhaps it slipped through the net because its title is more poetic. Meanwhile, entire sections of bookstores across the city are dedicated to gender and identity. Yeah, sure, that's totally fine to have, but can't have on Democracies and Death Cults. No, that's a bad book. A literal cul-de-sac in which the only destination is terminal self-absorption. You can read all about why women is a contested term, but not why liberal democracy must be worth defending. Douglas Murray, of course, believes it is, and that these days is heresy. His real offense is not extremism, but clarity. He writes what many suspect and fear to say. Indeed, he does. He defends the very values this country once promised to protect. He chooses reason over slogans, and for this, his books are quietly exiled from German shelves, even when they're about Jews being held hostage in the Middle East. Germany, of all places, should know better. You don't have to agree with Murray, but you should be able to buy his book. The fact you can't, in the capital of a country that once swore it would never again erase the voices of Jewish suffering, is more than hypocrisy. It's a quiet return to selective memory, and we've all seen how that ends. Douglas Murray himself commented on this and said that some of his favorite authors all throughout history have been blacklisted. So that should tell you a little bit about his reaction to this, right? Seems a little bit strange to me how in Germany, who claimed never to do anything like they did before to the Jewish people, Jewish voices, are going back to that very same thing, this time on a more radical leftist bent. Same problem, just a different way of expressing it these days. Different sort of ideology that has sort of latched itself to a more illogical framework, just like Hitler. Anyway, my friends, you guys take care, be blessed, and I'll see you all in the next video.